Welcome to the Morale Booster Network, a platform for entrepreneurs, career professionals, leaders, and the general public to give back to the society through coaching and mentoring. I remain your host, Dr. John Ugulu. I am an author, speaker, and strategist. I always say experience is the best teacher. You can stream or download this podcast from YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, Google Podcast, Player FM, and Pandora. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the Morale Booster Podcast. I am Dr. John Ugulu, your host. Today, we are thrilled to welcome our special guest, Sylvia Crawley Spann. Ladies and gentlemen, let's embark on this inspiring journey together. If this is your first time listening to the Morale Booster Podcast, I want to encourage you to please like and share this broadcast. And here is the reason why. It's because you might just be saving the life of that one person who has been waiting for a lifetime to hear the message that we will be sharing today. Welcome once again. Like and share it. Today on Conversation with Sylvia Crawley Spann, we will be exploring the power of mindset, the importance of mindset. Now, who is Sylvia? Now, Sylvia is, or rather, Sylvia, who is a former WNBA player, NCAA champion, and gold medalist, is a global coach and best-selling author, famous for winning the first ever women's slam dunk contest with a blindfolded dunk. She empowers individuals with her slam signature program in the areas self-confidence, leadership, accountability, and mindset, inspiring success in both sports and corporate arenas. She is married to her best friend, Pastor Brian Spann. They reside in Durham, North Carolina, where they share the distinct honor of caring for her octogenarian parents. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, please join me as I welcome Sylvia, the former women's NBA player, the great coach, the mindset and leadership coach, no other person but Sylvia. Sylvia, thank you so much for joining me on the Morale Booster Podcast. Please unmute your mic before you get on. Okay, so it's going to be on the bottom to your left. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Dr. John. I'm super excited to be here today.
You're very welcome. Yes. So tell me, how was your experience in the Women's National Basketball Association?
Obviously, it's an honor to play for our country. However, when I graduated from college, there was not a league in the United States for women to play. And so if you had aspirations to play professionally, you had to go abroad. So I played in 16 different countries. And then I got a letter when I was, I think I was in Spain. I got a letter that said, "Are you tired of playing abroad where your grandparents and your fans can't watch you play?" And I was like, "Yes." And they said, "Are you tired of being homesick and you want to come home with American food and speak English and play American style basketball?" And I was like, "Yes." And they said, "There's a league coming to the United States." I was like, so I was able to play for the ABL, which was the first league that formed at that time. Now, there were leagues prior to that, like the WBL, and there were some other leagues that paved the way for those leagues. But the ABL came first prior to the WNBA, and I went to that league, and then that league filed bankruptcy, and there were 20 of us that were able to switch over to the WNBA. 90 of us lost our jobs, but there were 20 spots open. And so I was very blessed to land back on my feet in the WNBA, where I played for Portland Fire. And then that team folded, and I went to San Antonio Silver Stars, where I retired.
Wow, congratulations. Please, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, please give it up for this amazing woman, this champion, this born champion, this gold medalist, this woman who made us proud. She made women proud in particular. So where are the women in the house? We want you to send some shout out to her. Leave a comment, forward this, and like it. Thank you so much. So congratulations for all you've done and for the fact that you decided to take it a step further to empower other people. That speaks volume. That speaks volume.
Yeah, thank you. There's something that drives me. Like, I come from a city. You talk about making women proud and making people proud, but I was driven to make my city proud. I grew up in a city called Steubenville, Ohio, which I'm very proud of. A lot of people haven't heard of Steubenville, but that doesn't matter to us. We know who we are. So shout out to Steubenville, Ohio. They're probably watching on my Facebook page. But I had the distinct honor of having a true village. I really did. I grew up on a street called Sherman Avenue, affectionately known as the Bricks. And every single parent on that street had the green light to parent me. So they could all spank me, they could discipline me, call my house, tell my parents would give me another spanking. So discipline for me was double. And I was the type of child that I needed that double discipline. But there was no escape from my parents. They had eyes and ears everywhere. And so even at my school, I had teachers who were friends of our family, and they looked out for me at school. So if I was doing anything in the hallways, or if I was, doing something I wasn't supposed to do, I had teachers that would give me a swat, call my mom, So I had to I was always thinking about consequences for my actions, and I still did bad things as a kid, I was a mischievous kid, but the consequences were always on the forefront of my mind. Like, anytime my friends said, "Hey, let's do this," I would think to myself, my mom would kill me if I did that.
I know that feeling.
If the fun outweighed the consequence, I would still go ahead and do it, but I was very conscious of it. And so I had a true village that saw potential in me, even when I didn't see it in myself. They felt like, you know what, you got a chance to get out of here, and we're not going to let you blow it, even if you're trying to blow it. And so that really pushed me. Like, when I left home, I was 17 years old. I left my house. I went to college at the University of North Carolina. And there was countless times where I wanted to quit. I felt like, this is way too hard. I don't know if I can make it. But I had so many people at home cheering for me. Like, our newspaper would always put everything that I was doing, they would put it in a newspaper. So when I went home for like spring break or Christmas, if I went to the grocery store, I had people saying, "Hey, we read about you in the newspaper. We're so proud of you. Keep going," So I felt like I can't quit. I can't let them down, And so it always drove me to like be the very best, and even when I was able to see different things and see the world and travel the world to 16 different countries, I was always trying to figure out, like, how can I expose my hometown to this? Like, I'm seeing things that you only dream about or read in books, And so I would do a festival at home called the Out of the Box Experience. And I felt like, hey, if people from my city can't get to Broadway, well, I'm going to bring Broadway to Steubenville, or if they can't see a comedian, I'm going to bring the comedian here. And so that was my intent, to like bring activities for the youth, because there's very little to do there. And I used to be a little girl there with nothing to do. And I got into, mischievous things because I was just trying to create fun. And so I often wonder, like, how come people don't come back and help us? Like, how come they don't come back and create activities? And I made a mental note to myself, like, when I get older, as soon as I'm in position to, I want to come back and create opportunities at home for my people. And so that's part of like what pushed me and drive me. Even to this day, I still have people that support me, that, and I'm like, I'm so appreciative to your support. And one of my friends said, "Just keep being great, Sil. I'm going to keep showing up. Like, just keep being great." And I was just like, wow, oh my goodness, they're paying attention, and it's bigger than me. It's always been very bigger than just me.
And that's what a calling is. A calling is bigger than us. It's bigger than what we can even comprehend. It has to be for others, not even for us, because it's someone else's calling that will be for us. Our calling is for someone else. So thank you so much for answering the call. And thank you so much for not leaving your people behind like the others.
Never,
And
never.
we appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're live with Sylvia Spann. She is a former WNBA player, NCAA champion, and gold medalist. So please, if you are just joining us, welcome. Remember to like and share this broadcast, and also leave a comment. Tell her, let her know where you're calling from or where you're watching from. I know we're streaming on multiple platforms, about 20 plus platforms at the moment. We only have 3 video platforms, but wherever you are, please like and share it, because you might just be saving the life of that one person who will be hearing the message that we will be sharing today. God bless you all. So Sylvia, I've got a question for you. As someone who has achieved greatness in sports and also transitioned to empowering others through your SLAM signature program, how has growth mindset shaped your journey and success in multiple arenas?
It has shaped my mindset in so many different ways. But my theme for this year was reach. I started coaching college basketball, and I directly affected 16 lives every single day for 8 hours a day, sometimes 12 hours a day. College coaching is a full-time, year-round job. You are a coach, you're a mentor, you're an auntie, you're a mother, you're a Sunday school teacher, you're a psychologist, you're all those things to your players. And so I devoted so much time to the same 16 players who may or may not appreciate you at that age, because you become a familiar voice, familiar face, kind of like parenting and teaching, because you're always the one saying things to them. And so I took a shift from college coaching. And the year after I stopped coaching college, I was able to reach 1,600 people in less time, and not every day of the week, maybe 10 times a year. And I was like, wow, I was able to be more impactful in less time, reach more people. So that started to be my drive. Like, I wanted to ignite leaders all over the globe, not just the country. And I have a huge mentality. I've been like this since I was a little girl. If I jump rope, we were going to state. We weren't just jump roping outside. I was like, oh, we're going to form a jump roping group and we're going to state. And they're like, state? If I was dancing, then we're gonna dance at concerts. Like, it was always big. So for me, just being able to use growth mindset to scale, was just huge for me. And so yeah, even today, like what I do today, I'm always thinking on a large level. I'm always thinking, like, how can I reach the masses? So I went from reaching 1,600 people, and then last year I reached like 2,800 people. And so I'm always like trying to reach more, be more impactful, be more effective. And there's so many people, like, people are learning how to follow through social media. They're following, I'm following you, you got a challenge, but nobody's teaching this generation how to lead. Very few people are. And so I'm simply igniting leaders, because I work with a lot of different teams, and I'll say, Coach, who's your captains? And they're like, well, we don't have captains. We don't have anybody mature enough to be a leader. I'm like, oh, Coach, you got leaders. They might not be leading the way you want them to lead, but somebody's leading them to the club. Somebody's leading them to drink. Somebody is leading this team. It's just a matter of you cultivating leaderships, teaching them how to lead in the direction that you want them to lead in. And I used to be one of those type of leaders. I thought that leadership meant I get to boss everybody around. Like, oh, people will do what I tell them to do. Oh, I get to boss everybody. And I found out, because I had a coach that invested in me. She was a great leader, Sylvia Hatchell, and she literally taught me how to lead. She would call me in the office and say, all right, listen, if we don't get this drill right the first time, I want you to call a huddle with the team and get them straightened out. You know who's supposed to be in what line. You're a senior. You know how the drill should go. So I went to practice that day and we did not do the drill correctly. And she said, start the clock over. And I said, Coach, can we have a huddle? She's like, absolutely. I've been waiting for somebody to step up. And I was thinking, like, you told me to do that, you know? But I got them in a huddle and I was like, hey, you know, you go to this line, you go to that line. We break, we get out there, we complete the drill successfully. After practice, my coach said, I just want to say, Sylvia Crawley, you did a great job of leading today. You got the team together and they finished the drill. And now my teammates are seeing me in a positive light. Now I'm leading the team. And it was such a, you know, dead-eye mind trick that she played on me, reverse psychology, you know, but she empowered me in front of my peers as a leader. And that's when my leadership starts to take a turn in a positive direction versus leading people to do bad and to use my influence to lead people astray. I started leading them to do things that were positive and beneficial for the team and for them as individuals.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that beautiful story. You know, mindset it is the main thing. You know, even we all know that sometimes you don't have to be prepared for leadership. It just comes, and when it comes, you should be ready to step in, and that's what you did. So thank you so much for sharing that beautiful story. I'm very sure somebody out there, you know, has learned something or is now ready or has been activated for leadership. God bless you. And you talked about teams not preparing people for leadership position. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. And they need to do more about, you know, they need to do more on getting team members prepared for leadership. All right. So my next question is now, okay, yes. So winning a slam dunk contest with a blindfold is a perfect metaphor for overcoming fear and self-doubt. So how do you teach others to build the confidence to teach such bold leaps in their own lives?
Well, I have a book that I've written called The Confidence Playbook. And in that book, I talk about different strategies to help you cultivate confidence, right? And so I'll just list the 3 ones that I felt like helped me to win a slam dunk contest blindfolded. So one was practice, and that's the number 1 strategy to developing confidence. Like, you got to practice, right? And the second one I would say is inner dialogue. So you have to have good self-talk. Like, you got to say positive things to yourself. We are so hard on ourselves, especially when things start to go wrong. We start to look at what we see. Instead of speaking faith, we speak about the circumstances, right? And so I'll never forget, we had a advisor for our team at the University of North Carolina, and she taught us this thing called sight, feel, yes. So she said, all right, I want you to close your eyes and visualize the basket. All right, see the basket. Then she said, the next word is feel. So I want you to put that ball in your hand. Feel the ball. Feel the leather. See how it feels. All right, now feel yourself going up to shoot and following through, right? And when the ball goes in the hoop, you say yes. So she said, are you ready? Sight. And we saw the basket. She said, feel. And when we did our shot and we followed through, we said yes. And so even on the court, if I was missing shots, I would say to myself, sight, feel, yes. And I would literally, in that split second, see the basket, feel the ball, see the ball going in and saying yes. And so the same thing played out in my mind when I was practicing for the blindfold dunk. I had to see the basket, even though I'm blindfolded, right? I've got to feel that ball in my hand, and I've got to successfully see myself slam dunking that basketball. And then the third strategy that it's not the third one in the book, but the third one that I want to bring out is called visualizing your success. And so I visualized myself making that slam dunk blindfolded 100 times before I ever completed it. And so if you can't conceive it, you can't achieve it. Like, you first got to conceive it in your mind. That's why vision boards are so important. That's why people post stuff. Like, I have things on my refrigerator, on my mirror, because whatever you see, you'll move closer to it. Right. And so you've got to visualize yourself succeeding. And so those are three things that helped me win the blindfold dunk, but that helped me create my own kind of confidence playbook. But in the book, I challenge you to make this applicable to your own life. What are some things that you're trying to do that you need more practice at? Like, you're frustrated because you're not getting it right. Like, is there more practice that you can do? Or are there classes that you can take to help you practice? And then what inner dialogue do you need to have with yourself? Like, once you're conscious of it, you'll start to catch yourself being negative. Right. And so I call that thought work. You have to do your thought work there. And so here's an example. Instead of looking in the mirror saying, oh my goodness, I look fat in these jeans. Change that. Your thought work is to say, I got to buy a bigger size. I need to buy a bigger size jeans. You know what I mean? It's just something that small where you just take it and twist it and turn it into a positive. And so I think that we have to do those things in order to cultivate confidence so that we can accomplish whatever we're setting out to do.
Absolutely. That resonates with me. Confidence. You talked about practice. Practice makes one perfect. You talked about inner dialogue.
Wait. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Because you could practice something wrong and permanently do it wrong. Not perfect. Right?
Yes.
So I like to say practice makes permanent. And so you got to make sure that you're practicing it correctly. So as a basketball player, I couldn't just go out and shoot around by myself and practice shooting. I needed a coach that was going to make sure I was doing it the correct way. And now practice will make perfect if you're practicing it the perfect way. So there's a huge difference with that. But I did want to touch on, there's something that you said, how to overcome fear and doubt. So confidence, a lot of people feel like, I don't feel confident. I'm like, what makes you feel like you're not confident? I'm like, well, my hands are sweaty and I'm nervous before speaking in front of crowds. And, I'm nervous before taking a test. And confidence is not a feeling, it's a skill. And just like any other skill, it could be learned, practiced, and perfected. And so that's what makes it possible to be afraid and have fear, but still shoot the ball with confidence. You could be afraid to start a business, but still do it afraid. Right. And so once people grasp a hold of that, like, it's human. It's human to have butterflies in your stomach. It's human to be nervous. Right. Some of that is adrenaline. And adrenaline, if used in a positive way, can give you a boost to take you up, right? So if adrenaline's going on, you feel all these butterflies in your stomach and you're having good self-talk, right? And you're visualizing success, that will move you in the right direction. But if you feel that adrenaline and you're fearing and you're doubting and you're having bad self-dialogue, that could tank you out in the opposite direction, right? So that adrenaline is there to help you, but you got to channel it in a positive way.
Yes, thank you so much. That resonates with me. You said practice makes permanent. I love that. Practice makes permanent. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard that. We no longer should use the word practice makes perfect, because we could be practicing the wrong thing, right? And we don't want to be perfect doing the wrong thing, right?
No
practice makes permanent. And once again, there is no such thing as perfection. Perfection is not attainable. But if we pursue perfection through training and practice, we can catch excellence. But we have to be excellent doing the right thing. So practice so that we can make excellence permanent. God bless you for sharing that. And you talked about confidence being a skill. I love that. I love that. Confidence is a skill. So which means we can always improve on our confidence from time to time by constantly practicing the areas we want the confidence to appear. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sylvia. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not already shared this broadcast, please do that. Take it as your charity work for today. It is free to share it. Take it as your charity work. Share it and bless someone with the information from here. God bless you all. Thank you. So now I've got another question for you. You have worked with both athletes and corporate professionals. So what similarities do you see in the mindset needed to excel in sports and in business? Do you see any similarities in the mindset to do well in either sports or business?
Absolutely. So with athletic teams, my SLAM signature program, the acronym SLAM stands for self-confidence, leadership, accountability, and mindset. And I chose those 4 areas. First of all, they go with the acronym, and it helps people remember what I say. Like if I do a speech at a school, at the end of the whole speech, I can say, all right, the S stands for, and the kids will scream out self-confidence, and so they could go home and literally tell their parents almost every word that I said when I'm speaking, because they can remember that acronym. 2, it helps me remember what I want to say, And 3, I wholeheartedly believe that teams who are striving to be like a championship team, or to do well in their season, it is very hard to win on the court or on the playing field if those 4 things are lacking. If you don't have self-confidence, it's hard to win. If you don't have strong leadership, it is hard for a team to win. If you don't have players holding themselves and others accountable, it is hard to win. And if you don't have a winning mindset or the right mindset, it is very hard to win. And so that's what I work with teams on primarily. But when I started speaking for corporations, what I realized is that they need the same exact things that teams need. They want to be number 1 in their field. So if it's American Airlines, they want to be the number 1 airline, right? Just like an athletic team want to be a national championship team. They also need leadership. They need teamwork. They need accountability. They need a winning mindset. They want their leaders to have that go-to mentality, right? Like the coaches want to get the ball in the hands of the right player to score the game-winning shot. Corporations want that same thing, right? And so once I realized, like, oh, the message is the same. It's just a different target audience, right? And so now I'm moving more towards corporations, still doing teams because that's where my background is. I love, I know what athletes' bodies are feeling like halfway through the season, like the fatigue that their mind goes through and when the injuries start to set in. And so I absolutely love that arena. But the corporate arena is something new for me, but it's all the same. It's all the same.
So basically, mindset shift is needed in both areas. The same mindset shift that is needed in sport is the same they need in building their business team. So thank you so much for sharing that. That truly resonates with me. So now, caring for your octogenarian parent while maintaining a very busy professional life must take incredible balance and resilience. So how has your growth mindset supported you in navigating these personal and professional challenges?
Yeah, it takes what you just said. It takes a lot of balance and resilience. Balance because, I'm balancing their schedules. They have, doctor's appointments, and they've got rehab therapy, and now it's a holiday, so they want to go shopping for Christmas lights and all kind of decorations and stuff. And then I've got my schedule, and I'm married, so then my husband's got his schedule, and so I'm trying to balance all of that out. So Calendly is my best friend. It's an app that you use for your calendar just to keep you organized. So and I believe you have Calendly too, so that's how I was able to schedule to be on this podcast. And so it keeps everything for me in one calendar. So when people ask if I can come speak, I'm looking on this master calendar and I'm like, I can't do it this time. I can't do it that time. I've got this doctor's appointment. So just make sure that I'm like meeting deadlines, not missing appointments, and staying on top of everything. And then resilience, just being able to kind of bounce back when things happen. Like every day is different in my house. Just as you mentioned, octogenarian parents, and they're sitting in a room like, octogenarian. So my parents are in their 80s. And so, when you're 80 years old, you could just wake up and something's hurting, or, something happened, and that could make my whole schedule change. Right. And so my dad had an incident last night. So then it made me get up, and I knew I had this podcast. I was like, let me run over to the doctor's office and get this kit that I need and come back and make sure I'm here at the computer on time. And so it's just a lot, and you just have to adjust. And it can be like an emotional roller coaster, and you have to make a commitment to not get on that roller coaster, to just stay resilient, stay steady, stay balanced, for them, because they did that for me. Yesterday, I said to my mom, I said, listen, I cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner yesterday. I need your help. And she said, yeah, I did it your whole life for the whole family. And I was like, whoa.
I love that response. I love that.
Like, I had 3 kids, and I had a husband too. And I was like, she does have a point. So she was resilient when I was younger, and there's 3 of us. If you think about it, I was thinking about this yesterday when she said that to me. I was like, and I was playing basketball. I had to go to basketball practice. I was doing volleyball, basketball, track, you know what I mean? So she's taking me to these practices, and not to mention my brother and my sister who were doing activities and packing lunches for all of us. And, when you think about it, it's just like, wow, your parents really make huge sacrifices for their kids. And so as they get older, it's then our turn. You know what I mean? Like everything that I want to complain about, I'm like, she did it for me. She did this for me, not just me, but I had like 2 other siblings that she did this for. So, it's their turn, and I just she sucked it up and she got it done. She didn't complain. She didn't have help, she just made it happen, so you just kind of got to be resilient, take it 1 minute at a time, and not try to bite off the whole chew, just little bites at a time, one moment at a time, and every day passes and it's a new day, and so I'm honored to be able to care for them in this season of their life, because they're funny. They're at an age where they're like hilariously funny. They have no filters on their mouths. My mom takes everything. She'll cut a watermelon and take it back to the store and is like, this watermelon is not sweet. You told me it was. Like, oh, you cut it. You cut it already. She's like, that don't matter. They got to take it back. So I'm getting all her recipes. They have so much wisdom. And this is with Gen Z. I love this Gen Z, this generation that's coming up right now, because they have access to so much knowledge. Like they have AI, you know what I mean? Like that's their secret weapon. We didn't have AI. We were doing things the hard way, but they have AI, But what's lacking is the wisdom part. And our seniors are the ones that have the wisdom. You know what I mean? Like they have lived enough for like 3 lifetimes, and if you don't understand history, it will repeat itself if you don't know it. And they've got all the history. So I feel like I'm very honored and blessed to like kind of have them very close to me, where they can just freely talk about stuff, and I get to hear it. I get to be a fly on the wall with them. And so when I talk to people my age, they're like, you're so wise. And I'm like, yeah, I live with octogenarians who hold all the wisdom,
Right. I love that. I love the fact that your parents do live with you. Is that a short-term plan or a long-term plan? Because I'm sure you already heard my accent. I'm originally from Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Our parents live with us till the end of time. No putting them in a home somewhere. No, they live with us till the end of time. Yeah. So is that your plan too, you and your siblings?
Yeah, my parents have lived with me since 2015. And so I got them at a younger age where they were still like driving and vibrant. And I convinced them that I needed their help. And they're like, oh, well, we got to move down south to help Sylvia, you know? And so now, that was one of the best things I did, was get them while they were still, able to get around and make friends and adjust to a new city. Because once they get older, they don't want to leave their surroundings. They don't want to leave their friends and their church and their favorite grocery stores and doctors and stuff like that. And so, but my people are from Cameroon, which is right next to Nigeria.
Oh, okay. No wonder. I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
But
okay.
growing up, I watched my parents take care of their parents. Like every day when my mom cooked, I had to walk a couple of blocks to take my grandmother, my dad's mom, a plate of food. She ate everything that we ate. And I used to say, like, what, I gotta walk down here? And my mom would say, because we gotta feed Nanny. Nanny can't cook. How's she gonna eat? So I learned from very early, like, that's what you do. Even people who weren't related to us in our neighborhood. My mom she was kind of like the local hairdresser. So she would go and do the seniors' hair on the weekends for free. She just did her hair for free. And they couldn't get out the bed or anything, but she wanted them to look nice, and I would go help her, with that. We would go visit senior citizens in the building right behind our house. And we were just raised that way. Like, that's what you do. You look out for your seniors. And so now I post what I call Crawley Chronicles on my Facebook page. And it's just funny stories about things that happen in our house, because I wanted to share, everybody doesn't have their parents still, especially around the holidays. It's a very hard time for people who have lost, especially their parents and their grandparents. So I share the stories about my parents with other people, just so that they can laugh about it and share in kind of what we're going through over here. And so it's just always funny, people get on the page and they're like, please keep sharing these stories. Like, I need these stories, and anytime my mom has like some nuggets, of wisdom, I try to post them. So she loves to garden. So she's always in her garden planting, and she was pulling up something by the root. She made me get out there with a shovel and dig these plants up, get all the way down to the root. And I said, what's the message in this, Mom? And I recorded it and I put it on Facebook. And she just talked about how, like, sometimes you got to get you got to get it at the root. If you don't get it at the root, it's going to pop back up in your life, and then I'll post that, and people just eat it up. It's kind of like they're just laying low for stuff like that. And so yeah, it's just something that I've learned to do from the beginning. Like, that's the only thing I know, my siblings and I, is that you take care of your seniors.
Right. I love that. And now I'm actually looking at your Facebook page now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not started following Sylvia on Facebook, please go to our Facebook, Instagram, and you are on Twitter as well, right?
I am.
Yes.
I'm not as active on Twitter, but I do have a Twitter page as well.
Yeah. So please go follow her, because my mom, will be moving to the United States from Nigeria. And, we're trying to come up with activities that she can do to keep her going, to, get her to like the environment, because she's already used to her church, her friends back home. She doesn't want to move, right? But the reality is she would have to be here for a long time. So I see you do some are these charity work, like I see food bank, you go to food banks, right? Yeah, do
Yes.
you mind sharing some of those,
Yeah,
what you
on
do?
Fridays, my husband and
Mm,
I, our church has a food bank, so we pass out
mm,
food for anybody who needs it. Some of
mm,
the people are homeless, but some of the people are just people who need food. Food is very expensive right now in the United States.
mm,
And
mm.
so our church, we give out, last week we were giving out lobster and oxtail. I was like, what?
Wow.
Onions and green peppers and lemons and just sweet potatoes and collard greens and all
Mm,
kind of stuff. And so yeah, we like to serve in a community. My husband and I believe leadership means to serve. And so there's no job that's beneath us. My husband is a pastor, but he'll get out and pick trash and put it in a dumpster all around the church. He'll go outside and pick up trash. And, normally you don't think that the pastor would do that, but he feels like, it needs to be done. I see it, so I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to do it, and so yeah, and that's kind of how I was raised with my family. We serve the community as leaders, and so but yeah, in terms of activities, my mom loves to garden. And so she has a flower bed and she has her roses outside, and she has a green thumb because she was born on a farm. So I put her in charge of just kind of like our curb appeal. So she does all the flowers and all that kind of stuff and the trees. And so that's what makes her happy. So she does that. We have a craft room in our house. She likes to sew. And so she has a craft room. I have a craft room. We normally end up sewing together in the same craft room. But so we have different things around the house that she can do if she gets bored, And we do have like a duplex kind of situation. So my husband and I, we live in a basement. And in our basement, we have our own bedroom, bathroom, TV room, office room, our closet, and a screened-in patio down there. And then my parents live on the first floor in a nanny suite. So they have their own living room, bedroom, bathroom, walk-in closet. So they have their own level of our house. And so everybody can coexist. Everybody's got a remote control and their own TV, and they can watch their own show. And so we don't really get tired of each other. If you need your own space, you just go to your room. But if you want to socialize, we come out and we eat dinner together. So our family eats dinner every day at 5:30 since I was born. That's just a family tradition. And so we come together and we eat and we laugh, we talk, we watch TV, and then everybody can go back to their separate places. So that's really been instrumental to how we can all coexist in one house and not really get tired of each other and not fight with each other, but just, live in harmony together.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I know what you have just talked about now will be a blessing for somebody. Like for me, I have learned some things. I have picked a few things that, I would apply. And thank you so much for sharing. So before I let you go, I would want you to say some words of inspiration for just 1 minute, 60 seconds. To that young man, young woman who still, who feels at this moment that he or she does not have what it takes to accomplish their life goals. Just help me inspire them for 1 minute.
Okay, I would say, and this is in my book, learn from lessons. So anytime you have a lesson or what you consider failure or a loss, there's a lesson in it. And so you kind of got to figure out what that lesson is and see it as a stepping stone versus a roadblock, right? And so when you see it like that, you won't fear failure. It won't stop you from moving forward in whatever it is you want to pursue. And this is the reason why Steph Curry can miss 10 shots in a row and then hit the game-winning shot and shoot it with confidence, as if he didn't miss the last 10. Because he understands that if I make it, we win. And if I miss it, somewhere down the line, I'm still going to win, because all I'm going to do is go watch the film, see what they did to stop me, practice that, reenact that. And the next time I have this opportunity, we will win. So when you take on that mentality, you start to embrace lessons as they come. You start to embrace failure or even mistakes as they come, because you understand that sometimes you win and sometimes you learn, not lose. Because if you learn from every mistake, it's always a win. So if you live with that mentality and that mindset, it's a win-win. So if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you try to do? Like, what goal would you set if you knew you couldn't fail, right? And if you learn from lessons, you don't fail. So that would be the biggest thing that I would say to anybody who's trying to pursue anything. And I even have to practice what I preach right now, because I've gone through like a difficult patch. And so I've got to learn I got to learn from losses. I've got to learn from those mistakes and learn from those what people perceive as failure. I got to learn from that and just keep moving, to use it as a stepping stone to get higher and higher and not a roadblock.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. You said sometimes you win and sometimes you learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love that. That resonates with me. Thank you so much, Sylvia. It's been a pleasure having you on the Morale Booster podcast. And I know somebody somewhere has learned something from you. Somebody somewhere has been activated to go step into their greatness. And we have some great comments here from Kashona. She said, "You are amazing, Auntie."
Yeah.
We have people representing from Cleveland, Ohio. Yes, that's Janet Borges. Thank you so much for joining us. Shout out to Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Yeah, she said go, Sylvia. Shout out to Karen. Shout out to
Jeff Smith.
Yes, awesome podcast. Thank you so much, Jill, for joining us on this podcast. And another beautiful shout out to Perry Jeffries. Slam, God bless you.
Perry is my financial advisor.
Oh, okay, that's great. That's great.
I'm changing his title to financial strategist because he strategizes, especially in today's economy. And then the one who said, good podcast, Auntie, that was my niece, Jordan. So, and I thought she was at school right now, but she's watching.
Yes, special shout out to every one of you. Please leave a comment, or you've already left a comment. Please share it so that somebody will be blessed today. So thank you so much, Sylvia. It's been a pleasure having you. Ladies and gentlemen, please follow her on social media. All her social media handles are right there. And what's the title of your most recent book publication, Sylvia?
It's called The Confidence Playbook, and it's sold on Amazon.
The Confidence Playbook on Amazon.
In all different countries.
Okay, great. So if you're listening to us right now, go get a copy of that book. And what will people learn from that book?
They'll just learn strategies to help cultivate confidence for lifelong success. Not just for me, it wasn't just for when I was playing basketball, but I apply it to being an entrepreneur. I apply it to being a speaker, to being a caretaker, a wife, every area of my life. And so, and there are people who feel like, I don't need confidence, but I have a niece that needs some confidence. But when I ask a few questions like, how many people have ever been nervous before an interview? I have a lot of people raise their hand. Or I say, how many people have been nervous before speaking in front of large crowds? And then a lot of people raise their hand. Or how many people have been nervous before taking a test? Or if you've ever played sports, you've been nervous before a game, before competing. And the majority of the room raises their hand. So everybody needs confidence at some point in time of their life. And this is it's a workbook. So you can do your work and make it applicable to your life. You know, I just kind of tell my story within it and in different areas of my life, not just in athletics, but you can make it applicable to your life by doing the work, by doing your work in the workbook. So I encourage everybody to go out and get it. It will bless you.
Thank you so much. Go get a copy of that book right now on Amazon.com. God bless you, ma'am, for joining us. And I always tell my people that whatever has a beginning surely does have an end. It is about that time where we bring this program to a close. I want to, first of all, let everybody know that we are excited to share some amazing ways for you to stay connected with our mission and continue to grow together. Your support and engagement means the world to us. And now here are ways you can get involved in what we do. You can make a donation. You can support our mission and help us continue uplifting lives by making a donation. All donations to the John Ugulu Foundation are tax deductible because the John Ugulu Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Your generosity allows us to keep spreading hope and positivity. So if you are thinking of making a donation today, or if you think of making a donation to a nonprofit in the near future, visit www.johnuhulu.com. www.johnughulu.com. On that same website, you can also purchase some of our inspirational books. You can also listen to our latest podcast episodes where we share powerful messages of hope, resilience, and personal growth. And lastly, you can become a part of our growing community where we uplift and inspire one another every day. You can subscribe today for just $10 a month and receive exclusive content, daily motivation, and access to special events. You can also become a repeat guest on our podcast by being a subscribed member of the Morale Booster Empire. And also, you can be nominated for various awards within the community. We do give out awards on an annual basis. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of this journey with us. Together, we can continue to make a lasting impact and spread positivity in all we do. I don't know where you're listening to us from right now. Yes, you who's listening, I don't know what you know about yourself. Neither do I know what the people around you know about you. But here is one thing that I surely know about you. I know you have greatness within you. I know you have all it takes for you to transition from where you are to where you want to be. I also know that you have all it takes for you to become a better version of yourself. And remember, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Stay blessed, everybody. Thank you once again, Sylvia, and see you all some other time. God bless you all.
Thank you for having me.
Wow.